It's like the media breaks out in hives at the mere thought of common sense, and Karoline Leavitt is giving them a full-blown reaction. She's not just taking questions as Trump's press secretary. She's flipping the script and torching tired media narratives in the process. In record time, Karoline has made it clear she's not here to play nice with spin. When reporters roll out their usual talking points, she doesn't flinch. She hits back with facts so sharp they're left speechless. Today we're diving into her latest mic drop moments, and trust us, you're going to be hooked from the first clapback to the last.
Which White House official made the decision to bar the AP reporter from the Oval Office and the diplomatic reception room last night?
Well, first of all, let me just set the record straight. It is a privilege to cover this White House. It's a privilege to be the White House press secretary. And nobody has the right to go into the Oval Office and ask the President of the United States questions. That's an invitation that is given. And there are hundreds of outlets on this campus, many of you in this room who don't have the privilege of being part of that pool every single day and getting to ask the President questions. We reserve the right to decide who gets to go into the Oval Office, and you all have credentials to be here, including the Associated Press, who is in this briefing room today.
Exactly. The chaos kicked off when the Associated Press flat out refused to recognize the Gulf of America, stubbornly sticking to the name Gulf of Mexico. Their excuse? It's been called that for over 400 years, and international bodies haven't signed off on the change. Classic case of so-called independent journalism digging in its heels. But the drama didn't stop there, because then came the CNN reporter's bombshell question.
I was very upfront in my briefing on day one that if we feel that there are lies being pushed by outlets in this room, we are going to hold those lies accountable. And it is a fact that the body of water off the coast of Louisiana is called the Gulf of America. And I'm not sure why news outlets don't want to call it that, but that is what it is. The Secretary of Interior has made that the official designation in the geographical identification name server, and Apple has recognized that. Google has recognized that. Pretty much every other outlet in this room has recognized that body of water as the Gulf of America, and it's very important to this administration that we get that right, not just for people here at home, but also for the rest of the world.
They refused because they're not journalists. They're activists in press badges. After the White House pulled their access, AP's executive editor fired off a dramatic statement to the chief of staff, claiming the actions were plainly intended to punish the AP for the content of its speech, and that they'd vigorously defend their constitutional rights and the public's right to independent news coverage. Please. That's textbook gaslighting. The public still has access to their news, though let's be honest, most people aren't turning to AP anymore, not with how blatantly biased they've become. So spare us the martyr act and maybe try doing some real journalism again. Now, on to the reporter who didn't even realize that crossing the border illegally is, in fact, a crime.
Of the 3,500 arrests ICE has made so far since President Trump came back into office, can you just tell us the numbers? How many have a criminal record versus those who are just in the country illegally?
All of them, because they illegally broke our nation's laws, and therefore they are criminals as far as this administration goes. I know the last administration didn't see it that way, so it's a big culture shift in our nation to view someone who breaks our immigration laws as a criminal, but that's exactly what they are.
You made a point with the worst first. They all have a criminal record?
And welcome to the briefing
If they broke our nation's laws, yes, they are criminal. Yes.
Thank you.
This kind of thinking is exactly why illegal border crossings have plummeted by 90% since Trump returned to office. Just ask the New York Post. But don't hold your breath waiting for the mainstream media to give him or his administration a shred of credit. Funny how things change when you make it crystal clear that illegal crossings won't be tolerated and the law will actually be enforced. The flood suddenly turns into a trickle. And it's not just the reporters catching heat from Karoline. She went full force at the left, calling out their over-the-top political theater during the anti-Doge protests.
And may I just point out, if you heard that type of violent, enticing rhetoric from our side of the aisle, from Republican leaders on Capitol Hill, I think there would be a lot more outrage in this room today. It's unacceptable, the comments that have been made by these Democrat leaders, and frankly, they don't even know what they're talking about. Because President Trump was elected with a mandate from the American people to make this government more efficient. He campaigned across this country with Elon Musk, vowing that Elon was going to head up the Department of Government Efficiency, and the two of them, with a great team around them, were going to look at the receipts of this federal government and ensure it's accountable to American taxpayers. That's all that is happening here, and for Democrat officials to incite violence and encourage Americans to take to the streets is incredibly alarming, and they should be held accountable for that rhetoric.
Exactly. You saw it. The non-stop meltdowns from left-wing lawmakers were something else. But let's be real. If half of those comments had come from anyone on the right, there'd be demands for life sentences. Drop a like if you're done with the double standards. What's even weirder, most of them didn't even mention the actual waste. They were too busy obsessing over Elon Musk and Doge. And then came the real bombshell. And finally, to top it all off, we have Karoline absolutely schooling reporters in real time, while chaos erupted around her and no one could even hear their own questions over the shouting.
Taking a common sense approach.
The president said he would work on extending the Abraham Accords. Mr. Whitcomb, the president said he won't speak.
Yeah, thank you. Can you direct traffic? Yeah, thanks.
Let's act like adults here. They are generously offering their time to answer your questions. You don't need to scream at them like a bunch of school children. Ouija, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Karoline.
Her reach goes way beyond the briefing room. She closed out her very first press briefing by not missing the chance to get in some perfectly aimed shots at Joe Biden, and it was absolutely electrifying to watch.
It is a good question, April. So look, the president, as you know, is incredibly accessible. First day here, he wanted all of you in the Oval Office. You got a 60-minute press conference with the leader of the free world while he was simultaneously signing executive orders. I may add, that's pretty impressive. I don't think the previous office holder would be able to pull such a thing off. So look, the president is the best spokesperson that this White House has, and I can assure you that you will be hearing from both him and me as much as possible.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you handle the mainstream media. But now I want to hear from you. Which one of these moments was your favorite? Drop it in the comments below. And if you think your friends need to witness Karoline's absolute masterclass, go ahead and share this video with them. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.